Hello, this is Yehna.
And this is Jessie.
We are excited to be back with another episode. We wrestled through many different questions, but today we wanted to invite you and elaborate more on the question of would you rather date slash marry someone who has a TCK background or not? So welcome and join us at
At the
the table.
table.
Uh, I don't
Spicy.
know why, but every time it has to do with dating or relationships, I just like, ugh, not comfy at all. At all. It opens up a layer that it feels a little much. But here we are. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
It's a different layer of vulnerability.
For
But
sure.
so, dating, being in love, does it matter if that person is TCK or not? What do you think? Because I think what we thought before being in a relationship and then now being experiencing a couple relationships, maybe that's changed for us, yes or no?
Hmm.
What do you think?
Also, kind of the factor of having lived in the US long enough outside of the
Yes.
TCK context, too.
Being removed
Mm.
from that for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
How has our views changed?
for sure. I'll start, because I'm just so wise in this area. Initially, obviously, for me, I mean, with any teenager or little girl, I'm just a girl. For a while, I just thought for sure they had to be a missionary kid. We have to have the same thoughts and mindsets and worldview and blah 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 blah. And then I went to college. No offense, no offense. But I met a lot of missionary kids. And I thought, oh no,
Oh, Lord, help us.
is that us? Am I that? Maybe two wouldn't be a good idea. You know how they have this saying, eldest shouldn't marry an oldest?
hmm
We're not saying that's true or biblical. I have many people I love that are married to oldest and oldest. But with that kind of said, just the idea of maybe someone who has a different perspective would be good for me, Yana Kim. And more so than just a TCK or MK background, we kind of touched this before, but someone who's willing to want to learn about my background is more important than that person having that for themselves, is kind of where I've come to in my heart, in my mind. Where is this person? Only the Lord knows. But
Where he at?
it's not even on the radar at the moment, so we're good. But yeah, I am completely off track. But basically, what I'm trying to say is I've come to a place where more so than the person's personal background, it's their willingness to learn about mine. Obviously, I don't know how long the Lord will lead me in this direction, but if He is leading me in a direction to love and serve TCKs and TCK families, all the more I hope that that person is willing to listen to their stories. With that also said, I would hope they have a more open and wider worldview, not just like well-traveled type of worldview, but just understand that we live in a box and that there's so much more to this world than this box. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
kind of where I'm at. Very like blanket cover answer, but yeah.
It sounds like you're definitely open as long as they have that heart to be curious and to ask questions. I really realized no matter if you're TCK or non TCK, like having that desire to ask good questions and to be curious about your
Hmm,
life really speaks a lot. It speaks volumes.
true.
And so that I think that's what I'm hearing from you is that that's something you definitely need, whether they're TCK or not.
How about you, Jessie?
Throwing it at me. Um, I don't know. I feel like you've experienced this too in some sense, but being able to be vulnerable and be known by a fellow TCK, there's
Hmm.
just so much joy in that and safeness in that. I was fortunate enough to experience a relationship with another TCK and just to have that unspoken understanding of
Hmm.
where you come from when you say certain things or when you act a certain way or kind of coming from this hurt place like hurt people understand hurt people type of thing.
Yeah.
Like being known in that way was so special. And I will forever be grateful for that. So I think there is tons of benefits from that. But also keep in mind, you are bringing a lot of baggage to the table. And not that I'm saying if you're not TCK, you don't have any baggage. That is not true. But I'm just saying that being TCK brings a certain type of baggage
Yeah, very
that's
unique.
very unique.
Mm,
And so when two of that combine on top of like family dynamics and maybe other traumas, little T's in your life that have come to the surface, navigating that together is also very difficult. So I don't know. I've definitely seen the joys of it, but also know how hard it can be. So I feel like that's where I stand. What?
I think I really relate with the baggage part. I think that's where I've
Mm.
struggled personally as a as a single person. Understanding that there's a blessing and a curse of understanding now what I carry.
Mm.
Obviously, because I am aware, I always have to remind myself to fall down on my knees, face down before the Lord, saying, "Oh my days, I don't got this on my own." And obviously, that kind of humility and brokenness doesn't always have to come because of a relationship. It's just my own
Right.
personal journey. But because I understand now and I continue to open up more things in my life as I go about various things like again, jobs, relationships, churches, friendships, family dynamics, and just so many things that I didn't even think about. Now that I'm aware that those things are there, I find it very difficult to go a step further and open up myself
Mm.
to someone in that light. Although I feel like I've now kind of cracked the code in friendships and church dynamic and finding healing and a lot of forgiveness and reconciliation within families, just the next step of allowing in some sense, a complete stranger into my life as a person to be, that just, to put it quite frankly and transparently, feels absolutely horrifying.
Mm.
As much as I say, oh my God, I would love to have a family and have children. Like those are things that I did so desire, and I won't deny it. And I'm very open about it too. But the idea of even starting that process is definitely, I feel very paralyzed.
I totally get that. And the thing is, like, it's almost like the more self-aware you are, the more it kills you
Yes,
because you're like, shoot, it took me so many years to get to this point of self-awareness. And now for that other person who completely might not even know my world, like where do we even start? Because
exactly.
I still am figuring out myself type of deal, you know?
Hmm.
So I get how that is so daunting. Oh my gosh. It just feels like a huge mountain you don't even know how to climb or
How to
which
even start?
yeah, you don't even know how to start.
Like,
Like I
what kind of
totally get
tools do
that.
I need for this?
Yes. Sorry, we're laughing because every time Yena does a thumbs up, the thumbs up thing comes up. That's
Oh, I
funny.
can't even with myself.
You
But
just need two thumbs up.
thumbs up for myself. Oh man. But kind of going back, in that sense, when you talked about the TCK experience of being in a relationship with possibly another TCK or even another missionary kid, having that unsaid, unspoken understanding also feels very comforting.
Mhm. It is.
AKA, I have no idea.
Well, but the thing is, Yana, we're in a really close friendship.
Hmm.
And because we know, you know, as much as we love friends that are non-TCK and we can connect with them on different points of common interests or different life things that we can connect on, there's also that special connection you have with other TCK
Yeah.
friends. And so because we know that, we're like, ooh, we would want that in a relationship. And that only makes sense
Yes.
that that's the case.
Mm.
So I get that. I will say though, I have found my person. I hate that. Oh, that makes me nervous to say on the podcast.
I love it.
But I found my person and he happens to not be TCK. And that was like the biggest thing that made me question whether I wanted to commit to being in a relationship or not.
Mm.
because oh my gosh, I just see so many things ahead that we need to talk through or explain, or like there's just a lot of extra effort and intentionality that has to be put into this. But I will say, just the simplicity in the way that, and maybe it's just him and the way that his brain works, but like just the simplicity of, I don't know, I tend to overcomplicate everything.
Mm,
And just the way that he lives life is so refreshing and so needed for my soul. And it balances me out so well that I'm like, man, I didn't realize how much I needed this for my heart. But then on top of that, not dismissing it, but still
mm,
being curious about why you think the way that you think or why you operate a certain way. So I don't feel dismissed, but I still feel seen,
mm.
because he's curious to want to know my heart and the way that I think, even though it might not make sense to him. So it's been very healing to experience that too.
So cute. What the heck?
Much love, much love.
I love it. Jesse, you're so funny.
What?
This look on your face right now. So nervous.
Ah,
I appreciate the vulnerability. That was hard because that's a very personal part of your life. And
yes, I
people
gatekeep
by
my
now
boyfriend.
know. People by now know. Jesse is
Do
not,
they?
no, as
Oh,
in
know
like,
what?
know that not one to ramble about your personal life. So I appreciate the transparency. I always
Yeah.
tell people if I'm single forever, it's because of Jesse.
Why?
Because I now know the standard.
Oh, you mean of me? Of my,
Yes.
okay. Oh.
And also our standard for friendships and what that, like, what mutual friendship respect looks like and
Hmm.
what growth looks like in a relationship, in a friendship. Because it essentially, we talked about this too. Our friendship will is like a direct reflection of what kind of our romantic life kind of look like. You know what I mean?
You know those reels where they're like, in every great relationship requires a best friend right there by your side.
Amen. Amen.
That is very true.
This is how serious Jessie is. She probably already has interview questions for my future person. Watch out, world.
Oh,
Watch out,
yeah.
world.
I will just say, if you're interested in Yehna, just keep in mind you will go through me and also her father and her brother as well. There's just a line of people ready to interrogate you.
Oh
Please DM
man.
me.
Feels that simple. DM or your no, don't do that.
Yeah, please DM me. Don't DM Yena. She won't know what to do with you. So DM me.
Delete. Yeah, thank you. I love you. Bye. Anyway, that's hilarious. But yeah, all that to say is obviously we don't know at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, what we desire is to be seen and heard and loved. And uh, yeah.
You're like,
But
ew, I
ew,
guess. I guess I
oh,
want that.
feelings, what is that? But I think something that I don't like the word struggle, but it is what it is. The struggle with is surrendering all of that to the
Mm.
Lord. Because not just all the idea of when he will come, not that kind of surrender. I think right now for me, it's a surrender of he will put the person who will see me and love me despite my brokenness and in spite my
Mm.
brokenness. My mom always says it's not about the red flags that they have, it's about which red flag can you bear because we all have it.
Mm. Yeah, and I was also going to add, even though I have found my person, like in the back of my head, I'm always like, man, like, will I fully be
Mm,
understood for who I am, like all of me? That is still a fear and it's valid. And I also think that surrenderance of, you know what? This person I find like he is as broken as I am, and he will never fully get me. Like there will be moments where I might feel misunderstood. I might be disappointed
mm.
and ultimately have to remind myself God is the only one that sees me for all of me and can truly get me. And that's where my foundation lies, not in another person perfectly seeing me or being curious for all of the parts of me. And that's
Oh,
taken
that's
a
good.
lot of letting go to just let myself chill.
Oh, I need to learn that too. Or I
Easier
am
said than
learning.
done. You
I
are
am definitely
learning.
learning.
like even if you're not in a relationship, you're learning through being in relation with God and with your friends
My
and with the
friends.
community.
My standards grow every day due to my friends. I truly mean that in the highest respect because you guys are amazing people. I think all the more it convicts me and challenges me to see my brokenness as an opportunity to grow rather than something to be ashamed of. Because every time one of us were to say something mean about ourselves, we're very quick to be like, yo, change the narrative up a little bit. Because as much as we have probably recited this so much growing up as people who go to church or have gone to church since little, is that we are God's beloved and we are wonderfully and fearfully made. Sometimes now translating that as our identity is definitely
Mm,
been a struggle. And it
mhm,
feels a little shallow because like as girls, we want to be like pretty, whatever. But really, truly, what does it mean to have the heart of God and to
mm,
be beautiful in the sight of the Lord has really been definitely difficult, difficult. And yeah. So all that to say is for anyone out there in or not in a relationship and is a TCK who's like always struggled with the concept of relationship, just know, first of all, you're not alone. Clearly, we're really struggling here. And secondly, like I just said, you are truly fearfully and wonderfully made because, and you have a purpose here. And although it may not feel very noticeable or clear at the moment, just know the Lord is using every little bit to grow you. And it sometimes just means that your seed is in the soil, slowly sprouting inside. It's just not outside yet. Just wait a little bit, you'll get there. Actually, we might never arrive, until the Lord comes.
Yehna. All of this, the whole content here was for Yehna to remind herself of that.
Essentially, this podcast is for me. What's new? But yeah,
Me too.
yes.
Yes. Me too. Me too.
But thank you so much for listening, and hope this served as a beautiful reminder that your girl's gotcha, and the Lord's gotcha. We're on YouTube and on Spotify and on Instagram. We are all there, so check us out. And I feel like we had an episode. I'm just blanking on the episode number, but we also had an episode where we talked about whether you would want to raise TCK children. So we did a little prequel today, but if you want to check that out as well, please go listen to that. And yeah, we cannot wait to share more on our next episode. And until then,
Bye.
bye.